Most viewers look at an estate auction and see a simple transaction of wealth, a boring administrative wrap-up to a villain's reign. But if you ask me, the upcoming liquidation of Jens and his hidden assets is not about money at all. It is a meticulously disguised psychological trap, a mirror reflecting the deepest, darkest greed of our beloved resident. We are so conditioned to watch the mob bosses and corporate titans fight for supremacy that we completely miss the silent predators waiting in the wing. This is where it gets interesting, guys. The real threat is never the one making the loudest threats. It is the one quietly rearranging the chessboard while everyone else is distracted by the shiny pieces. As we look ahead to the next couple of weeks, spanning the end of August into early September, the vacuum left by Jens is creating a massive gravitational pull. The immediate physical threats might be neutralized, but the residual wealth and secrets left behind are tearing alliances apart. We are watching a town on the brink of a massive power shift, where old grudges are being weaponized and new vulnerabilities are being exposed. It is a fascinating study in collateral damage, and no one is going to walk away from this completely unscathed. Let us talk about Ava. I genuinely believe she is the one who will turn this entire auction into an absolute circus. While Drew, Sunny, and Valentine are busy flexing their respective muscles and trying to outmaneuver one another for the grand prize, Ava has been quietly laying her trap. She thrives in the shadows of male ego. If those three titans are all aiming for the exact same slice of the pie, I would not rule out the strong possibility that Ava will swoop in at the final second and completely shatter their plans. She does not just want to win, she wants to watch them lose. Imagine the absolute devastation if Ava manages to secure the assets right out from under them. Such a move would not just be a financial victory, it would be a psychological masterstroke. Her sabotage could be the exact catalyst that makes Drew realize he is being played from behind. We have seen her do this before, manipulating situations so flawlessly that her victims end up destroying themselves. Ava holding the keys to the empire Jens left behind would instantly shift the entire power dynamic of the town, making her the most dangerous player on the board. Meanwhile, Anna is walking down a terrifyingly dark path. Her ongoing obsession and haunting visions regarding Peter are blinding her to reality. I am watching a legendary agent slowly lose her grip, unable to distinguish between genuine memories and the elaborate psychological traps being constructed in her mind. It is agonizing to witness because Anna has always been our moral compass, yet now she is being driven by ghosts. The trauma is so deep that it is warping her sense of justice into something unrecognizable and incredibly dangerous. This brings us to Britt. From my perspective, Britt is completely oblivious to the fact that she is squarely in the crosshairs of a woman losing her mind. If Anna truly believes the twisted instructions her hallucinations are feeding her, Britt could easily become collateral damage. Britt is already navigating her own complex web of medical and legal nightmares, and having Anna secretly targeting her is a recipe for absolute disaster. The tragic irony here is that Britt might face her greatest peril, not from a known enemy, but from a broken hero who genuinely believes she is doing the right thing. Now, I have to pause and ask myself, am I being too harsh on Anna? Perhaps there is a method to her madness. Maybe somewhere deep inside that fractured psyche, the legendary spy is actually playing a long game, using the visions of Peter to uncover a hidden truth we cannot see yet. It is entirely possible that Anna is faking the severity of her breakdown to draw out her real enemies. But even if I play devil's advocate, the undeniable truth remains that her current actions are reckless. The sheer proximity to danger she is forcing upon Britt makes this a gamble with incredibly high stakes, and the margin for error is absolutely zero. Let us shift gears to the quiet tragedy brewing with Hudson and Phoebe. Hudson is seemingly on the verge of making a heartbreaking decision. I strongly suspect that his growing doubts about the true paternity of Phoebe, coupled with the lingering mysteries surrounding the late Delilah, are about to crack open a massive secret. If Hudson uncovers a fundamental lie about who Phoebe really is, his entire perception of the child could change in an instant. It is a devastating thought, guys. A child's foundation might be shattered simply because the adults in her life could not stop spinning webs of deception. And then we have Drew. We all know he is gearing up for a massive retaliation, but I think everyone is looking in the wrong direction. Drew is not going to target the obvious enemy. If he discovers that Danny and Charlotte are somehow entangled in a hidden conspiracy, I fully expect him to pivot immediately and declare war on the very people trying to protect those teenagers. Drew has lost so much time, and that kind of profound loss breeds a unique type of paranoia and ruthlessness. He is no longer the forgiving man he once was. He is a wounded animal willing to tear down anyone in his path. This is exactly why Alexis will be forced to step into the arena. There is absolutely no way she sits on the sidelines if Danny is caught in the crossfire. If Drew actually sets his sights on the boy, Alexis will deliver the most severe ironclad warnings of her career. She will not just yell, she will weaponize the law. I can see her turning this emotional conflict into a brutal legal battlefield, forcing Drew to severely calculate his next move before he does something he can never undo. Alexis protecting her family is a force of nature, and Drew would be incredibly foolish to test her limit. On a completely different emotional spectrum, Rick is actively digging his own grave through sheer, unadulterated jealousy. Watching Elizabeth share warm, supportive moments with Dante at the hospital is clearly eating him alive. Rick has a well-documented history of letting his insecurities dictate his actions, and I feel like every time he witnesses their closeness, he inches closer to making a catastrophic mistake. He filters every innocent interaction through a lens of paranoia. Instead of securing his place, his jealousy will likely drive him to push Elizabeth further away, creating the exact nightmare he is trying to prevent. Over in the corporate world, Michael is facing a massive crossroads and is likely to turn to Sonny for guidance. But I do not believe this will be a simple, heartwarming chat between a father and son. Sonny will undoubtedly offer advice steeped in mob survival tactics, forcing Michael to reevaluate his entire strategy regarding Aurora and the escalating tensions with Drew. Sonny understands power dynamics better than anyone, and applying that ruthless street wisdom to a corporate boardroom could fundamentally change how Michael fights his battles. It is a dangerous merging of two very different worlds. Adding fuel to the fire, Jordan might just pull off the biggest surprise of the week by publicly declaring her loyalty. I am predicting that Jordan will firmly align herself with Michael in the ongoing corporate warfare surrounding Aurora. This public stance will be a massive shock to Drew's system. It will force Drew to realize that his support base is crumbling and that he is far more isolated than he ever imagined. Jordan is a woman of deep conviction, and her choosing Michael over Drew speaks volumes about where the moral high ground currently lies. Meanwhile, Willow is trapped in the center of a rapidly expanding war zone. She is no longer just dodging attacks from Tracy. She is being dragged into a much larger, more dangerous conflict with the arrival of Jack. This is where Nina becomes a massive wild card. If Nina senses even for a second that Willow is being cornered or treated unfairly, her maternal rage will explode. I fully expect Nina to bypass the pleasantries and launch a direct scorched earth confrontation against either Jack or Michael. Nina's love for Willow is fierce, blinding, and incredibly destructive when provoked. We also need to pay very close attention to Kai. He is quietly becoming the most critical, unexpected link in a brand new conspiracy. Kai could easily find himself in mortal danger simply because of his proximity to Willow's dark secrets. Alternatively, he might inadvertently step right into the crosshairs of the stalker currently obsessing over Trina. I would not be shocked in the slightest if these two seemingly separate storylines violently crash into one another. Kai is the perfect innocent bystander about to be swallowed whole by the criminal underbelly of the city. And let us not forget the classic soap opera element of being in the wrong place at the right time. Gio and Emma are perfectly positioned to accidentally overhear a conversation that was never meant for their ears. In my view, this is the writer's brilliant way of dragging the younger generation into the massive, sweeping secrets of the adult. They do not even need to actively investigate. Just one slipped sentence, one whispered confession caught in the hallway is enough to alter the trajectory of their lives forever. Innocence is always the first casualty in this town. Ultimately, everything circles back to the liquidation of Jens and his empire. This auction is the ticking time bomb of the next 2 weeks. Drew, Sonny, and Valentine all have intensely personal, deeply flawed reasons for needing to win. But, as I said earlier, the final victor will likely be the one we least expect. If someone secretly sabotages the bidding war, the entire balance of power in our beloved city will flip upside down in a matter of seconds. The fallout will not just be financial, it will dictate who rules the streets and the boardrooms for the rest of the year. To wrap this up, the upcoming weeks are not just going to be a series of petty arguments. We are entering a phase where foundational alliances are cracking, deeply buried conspiracies are being dragged into the harsh light of day, and several players are slowly realizing they are pawns in a much deadlier game. If you want my advice on where to keep your eyes glued, watch Drew, Ava, Anna, and that explosive auction. Because in this town, one single miscalculation is all it takes to drag everyone down into a completely new, inescapable spiral.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.